up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Yeah.
Live from the apocalypse, run into the welcoming arms of State of the Game. Big hug. Thank you for being here. My name is Dano, and if you're like, what is this guy? What is he about? Just go on YouTube and put adaptation. You are what you love, and that's about it. That's who I am. So, and you feel like, who's the co-host? What kind of person is he? Pokemon. That's the kind of person who loves Pokemon. So,
Love Pokemon.
That's it. Thank you for
That
being
sums
here.
it up. Exactly.
Yep. We're here. We're not doing the nighttime now. We're doing some daytime. Because we got the only concern here I have today is our guests might be too nice of people. Mighty Healthy's not here to do our 2023 production trends. He's in Egypt. They're building a statue of him or something. I don't know. I'm guessing. But he if he was here, he would shit on West Side Gun. We would have a great time. Somebody's got to take that spot and bring the heat. So we'll see who that becomes naturally, right? Now, one of these people we've already spoken to, right? Okay, we interviewed the expert, and you came away like, holy fuck, like this guy's great, and we got to have him on again. I had already talked to him before and knew he was just really fucking sharp. So I always wanted the expert for this. Also, he's got a top 10 album of the year, like with Stick Figure, with Ritual, an album that everybody just needs to hear. So yeah, I'd love to have you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, pleasure.
And we have pulled in someone who's on a hell of a run, production wise.
Oh, thank you.
We're talking about produced an album that he did with Darko the Super last year. That was just great. Great for shoveling snow, great for raking leaves, that kind of great music. And this year produced the Fall Collection with Hemlock Ernst, and got the best out of an incredible voice. So I can't wait to talk to Keech about what 2023 has been like production wise and the trends we're seeing.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, guys. I'm psyched to do it too.
It's been awesome. And I threw up some just stuff that was in my head that I was thinking about, but man, I was listening to, like, I'm kind of overwhelmed with what we have, right? In the world of rap right now, right?
Yeah.
This is why when they say, oh, rap is losing, that we're like, what are you talking about? Right? Because like we got a new Domo Genesis album this year that's really good. Like we just got a new Micah 9 album that has fucking RBX and AC Alone on it. Like,
yeah,
it just dropped. Like, because music is so much easier to make, the people you love that may have fallen away are back, right? Chic Luch just dropped another album. It's fun as fuck.
Oh, nice.
Great. So, like, it's just easier to make music, so you're able to have all this at your fingertip. Now, that makes it harder to digest, which is why sales are down, right? Like, if an audience gets confused, they tend to just pack their shit and leave, right?
Right.
But we have a lot of good work. We just need to showcase it and figure it out, I think. Does that make sense?
It definitely does. That's a positive spin that I'm gonna keep in my mind.
Yeah, the amount of albums coming out, it's impossible to keep up, even within the lane you love. I find that I just struggle to keep up with it.
How would you say that music consumption has changed over the past, I mean, I want to say 10 years, but I feel like 5 years is adequate enough.
This is Kay's asking the question. Kay's asking the question.
Yeah.
I think the playlist is king, really, isn't it?
Yep.
And it's funny, I know someone who was asking the, like, bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds who's your favorite artist? What's your favorite music? And they're just like, you know, uh, kind of chill hop radio or whatever they were saying. They didn't know any artists. They just knew the playlist or whatever. And just kind of think, wow, that's so different to when I
Wow.
suppose I was growing up, when it was like you wanted to be a part of a certain subset of that genre, and consume everything within that, whether, it was a bunch of emo kids, it was a bunch of, underground rap heads, it was a bunch of, but like that really seems to have gone. And it's a real kind of homogenized H&M kind of feel to music now. That's kind of how it seems.
So the weird part about that, because I've seen the other side of it, and you're absolutely right, Extra, by the way. But because of it, like I work with young people. By the way, I'm really old, so everybody's young. You call Kay a young person. Like it doesn't even make sense. So, but because they're like they grew up with a playlist, they didn't grow up with the same kind of hangups that we grew up with.
Absolutely.
They didn't grow up with the same kind of biases. So if I
like what?
You should check this reggae album out. They're like, I will. What is it?
Oh, yeah.
They'll just throw it on. Like, why not? Because they're not going to have to pay $15 at a Sam Goody, right? They're not going to have to invest. And they grew up listening to a bunch of whatever. So some of these younger people have better taste.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, that's not what I meant, but I mean, because like you said, they can check out something you recommend instantly, whereas for us it was like you have to go to a record store, try and find, like, it was a huge effort to try and do it. But I suppose what I mean is, though, is like there's the volume of consumption. What is it? It's nearly 100,000 songs a day on Spotify. Like it's kind of just bewildering to find out what you truly love, and find the scene.
Yeah. So Kay, I have Keech, do you want to respond to Kay's question or because I have a rant?
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I guess I think a lot about how, like, in the era of like when Pitchfork was like the illest shit and stuff, it would be like so much like writing and discussion and debate about music that sometimes people didn't even have a way of hearing. Even when the internet was, even though the internet was popping, it's not like it is today where you can literally just type in anything in the world and instantly hear it, And it's like, it is interesting. Like, I feel like there's less like criticism. The kind of criticism you guys do is, like, to me, the only like legit form left, because it's like actually like from a fan perspective or something, and it's not like we're deeming whether this is worthy for the world to hear or something. Because I don't know, I feel like that shit is out, because it's like everybody can just hear it and see if they want to like it or not in 1 second. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's a good point, Keith.
That's a great point.
It's like the whole gatekeeping bullshit is like, no, there's no gate. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You're not in front of a gate,
Yeah, I used to always like read magazines and stuff and like try to just guess what people meant. Like, they'd be like the syrupy metallic guitars floating over and I'd be like, do I like that, or would that sound good? I wished I could have just heard it, but now you can't,
Well,
out of interest on that point, do you think the loss of the gatekeeper is a good thing? I suppose maybe I'm talking mainly about record labels there. Do you think it is a good thing?
I guess it does seem like there's got to be something for it not to just be like all just kind of like trash from TikTok that that like blows up. There's got to be some kind of like sorting process or something. So I mean, I definitely could imagine it being bad with 0% of that or something.
I think like to your point, Expert, the labels are going to have to change, right? They're going to have to just become a reliable conduit for people who want, merch, CDs, vinyl, you know what I mean? Like, who, think of what mellow music has done over the years, right? Like the model they presented of like, you come here, we're going to give you a polished version of what you do. We're going to put it out to a reliable base of people. You're going to have a shirt. You're going to have, you know what I mean? You're not going to have to handle all that, a reliable kind of middleman rather than a powerful, overlord. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But
That's a
even
great-
Nello, like in the last year or so, I think
Yeah.
Odyssey, L'Orange,
Yeah.
Open Mic, they've lost a lot of the bigger acts.
Yep.
So even they have to really adapt and change now.
Yeah, you grow out of like that's the whole challenge for Mello is like you have to people grow out of the label, right? Like if Open Mike Eagle, nobody could have foreseen how big he would be, right? He owns his own podcast network. Why would he need to be on Mello, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not the same thing for him, but you then have to go grab the new crop, and that's where you get somebody like Namir Blade, or you try and bring in new talent. So they need to keep doing that. Yeah, absolutely. But to Kay's question, what has changed about music consumption the last 5 years? My answer would be the death of the narrative, right? Like every release week kind of had a narrative, like, oh, J. Cole's coming out this week. What's he going to talk about, right? Or it was, I can't wait to hear what Kanye and Jay are going to do on their group album. We had narratives every week, right? Like, and the narratives don't hit. They're not hitting anymore, right? Like, it was trying, right? Remember, like they were like, maybe Drake will say something about Pusha T. No, he didn't, and the record's not great. Okay, and we all just kind of moved on. Like, it's and the narrative is kind of gone because there's so much music out there. Everyone's kind of in a different space with what they want.
Well, do you feel like that's more good or more bad, or neither?
It puts pressure. It puts pressure on people, right?
Yeah.
So from the artist perspective, you're going to need to differentiate what you do. Since it's easy to release music, since it's easy to make music, you can keep pumping out music, but if it's the same music, why do I need to buy it? Why do I need to buy your new album if it's just like your last album, right? So why do I even need to listen to it? So you need to differentiate what you do. It means you need to have a story. You need to have a narrative. You need to have, something that you crafted, right? That makes this album special or this release special.
Right.
From a fan perspective, this is important. Fans listen to this shit. Your job is not to listen to everything. This is Dan. I listen to everything. Your job is not to listen to everything. You are an old-timey prospector in the Old West, right? You're looking for gold. You're not going to get every square of dirt, but you're looking for gold. So you sift to get to gold. And when you find gold, you're happy. Allow yourself to be happy, right? So that's
Speaking to
the
some crate
mentality.
diggers, they understand that.
Right.
Yeah, the crate diggers understand that. That's for sure. Yeah. But actually, something that I thought was interesting is if you say that there's also the approach of, let's say the Griselda approach. There are lots of people do where it is like, let's say an album a quarter or something like that.
Yep.
I'm fascinated about that approach and just how much music people are able to pump out, but then also, is it a strong strategy? I don't know. I think it's an interesting approach.
I think that's an interesting question. I have my own thoughts. Go ahead, Keech.
Oh, I was gonna say sometimes I like that, even if I don't like the music that gets made that way. I like I like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah.
It's a good band. I like that band.
I feel like so much of the music could just, I don't need it, but I just like that they're doing it that way. I just like watching it and like watching the momentum or energy or something. But it's a good question. It's like, and it's also like because it works for a few people in this one specific circumstance, does it actually work for anybody else, you know?
Well, yeah, because it's kind of that thing of like, let's say someone does it for a couple of years, and let's say that's 8 records, and you're like, oh, these are amazing. But then, let's say Griselda or whoever you want to like, I quite like some of the Griselda stuff, well, in particular,
Yeah.
Rome Streets, but like, when it comes to album 8, you're like, I kind of don't care now. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's
Totally.
new? So yeah, I just find it a really interesting approach people take.
Yeah, to your point, expert, you have to differentiate it if you're going to do that. You can't
Mm,
give me 5 albums in 1 year that are the damn same. I don't. That's
yeah.
not an accomplishment.
Right.
But
yeah.
let's just say in the sphere we're in, like kind of underground rap or overground or otherground, whatever you want to call it,
Other ground, I love it.
does do a lot of acts dramatically change? I'm not so sure.
So
Dramatically change, I'm talking about. Like,
I think, yeah. So like I want to answer your question, expert, because I think in my mind, and me and Kay, we've kind of seen this, like talk to people who've done this approach, right? Specifically somebody like Iceberg Theory, right? He teamed up with August Fanon. They released a shitload of albums in a very short period of time. And when I talked to Iceberg, he said, I wanted to do that consciously. I wanted to get my name on the board as somebody that is important in this, right? Like, and this was a way to do it, to be everywhere for a year.
yeah.
And like, and I know Iceberg loves Rock Marciano, and Rock Marciano kind of was the most successful version of this to me. In his MVP year, we named him MVP, but he did the Behold the Dark Horse, Rosebud's Revenge 2.
Yeah.
He did like 4 or 5 albums in 1 year. They were all very different from one another. They were all very cool. The Chaos with DJ Muggs, right?
Yeah.
All that was within 1 year. It was really wild and it was really dope, but that's not how rock does things now.
Right.
No. Yeah.
He did that for a year, planted his flag, and went back to like once a year.
But that makes sense. That's a strategy, if you know what I mean. But the people who kind of do it for like year 4, you're kind of like, geez, this is kind of like, do I need to listen to it? I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to ask you, like, because I feel like how artists view their discography is different now. I feel like back in the day, and I mean, when I say back in the day, my only reference would be the 90s, maybe early 2000s. I feel like artists and producers viewed their work a little bit different, their body of work a little bit differently than artists do nowadays.
Agreed.
Can you guys like speak on that as artists?
Yeah.
Like, how do you view your discography, your body of work?
Well, okay, like I think for me, I feel like my first album with a group that was like 1998 or something, and it was like everything was so local. You know what I mean? It's just like this local cassette release, and it's like I wasn't really thinking about it as something that anyone else would hear, and I don't think they did, but like I do think it's a little different today, where people can make things on a really small level and basically know that they're going to be like online forever. I think, which is, I don't know. I think maybe there's a little more. Some young people I've met, there's a little more awareness than maybe that we had of like any all this is going to be online, and just in the lottery of music, any of it could blow up and be big at any moment. So like,
yeah,
like I think there's a little more self-consciousness or something, for better or worse.
Yeah.
But it's that idea of like play a song on a playlist or something could change everything for someone, and I think that's why the
Totally.
flood in the market approach has become popular as well. But yeah, like I'm kind of old school, I think, and like probably my favorite band, Portishead, like it's really important to them, like the body of work. It's not how much, and like they'll take their time, but like I don't think they've a bad song in their discography. The whole thing is just amazing.
Right,
And
right, right.
so
Fair.
like I'm sure the same as Keech, like I have hundreds of beats here that have never left hard drives, but just my approach is to try and get, I don't know, make 100, but get the 12 or 15 or whatever that work together as the body of work. And that's kind of my approach. So yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah, and
But then again,
that's
if people, then again though, if people were knocking down my door saying, "Oh, I want to work at the," like my approach would probably be different, if that makes sense. You know, if you're in demand and lots of artists want you would work at a quicker rate.
Right, right,
Because I'm
right.
kind of taking a project at a time, I'm going at a different my own pace.
and that's but that's the way like that's what I was trying to get to and make my breakdown a little bit when I was thinking like what surprised me the most is that the marketing hasn't caught up to how much opportunity there is.
Mm,
Like it as it like so back in the day, back in the 90s when he said what in the early 2000s when Kay's talking about underground artists were underground because they were too wild to be anywhere else, right? Like
mm,
Big Juss was not going to be on a commercial, right? Like it's
Right.
these, you couldn't do that stuff, but could you take a song off of Ritual and put it on a commercial? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That shit would go. Like it would be interesting. It would be noticeable. Like there's all kinds of albums that I think could be pop albums if pop cared enough to see them.
Totally. Totally.
mm.
And Ritual is one of them, to be honest. Like Ritual to me is one of those where I was like, this could definitely have a mass audience. The sounds are psychedelic enough, are interesting enough, are warm enough to bring people in. Stick is conversational enough and interesting enough. Like it could definitely be something that people would notice. It's just things only get noticed above this line, period.
Mm.
And it's kind of
Mm.
that's what
Yeah,
it is. It's so weird.
yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any albums that come to mind that you think like this would be a good pop album? I don't know why it isn't.
Hmm. From this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's hard to. I feel like it's hard to. I guess what are we defining as pop? Just like a huge success.
No, yeah, it's a good point. I like as an example, I think when Billy Woods put out Maps, one of the most interesting things to me was it's an incredibly personal album, but it's much more pop friendly. Soft Landing is much more of a
Yeah.
radio single, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an album that is like a bridge to a different audience, I think. Like
Right, right, right.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
so like there's a lot of albums that I feel like maybe should be a bridge to a bigger audience or could, but
Like
the audience
some of
doesn't.
that Young Morpheus record is really,
Oh
uh,
my gosh.
really like kind of, I like you could hear that on stuff, I think maybe.
From whence it
Um,
came. Yeah. From
yeah.
that's
And maybe also,
oh
like I know he's pretty large anyway, but like Odyssey could be on that, the
oh
Odyssey record could be on stuff. Even some of that Video Dave and Controller 7.
hell
Mm.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of have an odd question, and we'll see if we could work with it. Do you like? Do you think like I want to ask the inverse of Dan's question? Is there an artist that came around in the '90s that was pop back then, but would be considered underground now?
Oh yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh
I don't know. I always think about, maybe this is like super obvious answer, but I feel like that with all of Wu, kind of like it would make so much sense to me if they weren't able to to just like break out in this big way because there's so much going on, and it's so detailed and weird and stuff that I don't know. Like sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know what happened that made that work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
like I remember like hearing like Protect Your Neck for the first time, and like meeting these kids that were so I feel like I don't know what the situation was, but they all had promotional Protect Your Neck shirts on and were playing the song over and over again. I think maybe like the Woo street team had just like come to town or something, but like there was just something about it where it's like, this is crazy, but it's like instantly feels big. And I don't know. I feel like that doesn't exactly happen in the same way now. Maybe.
no, I think you're onto something. To me, I was about to say, because I was on Crate 808, and we're doing a Jizza series, right? And I
Mm.
said when we did Liquid Swords, I was like, I can't fucking believe this is a pop album.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the
Or
most
no,
not a pop album
or
ever.
Tikal, the actual album
It's a
Tikal.
very dirty album. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, then he remade the remix with Mary J, but like that album is so dark.
It's dirty and it's dark and
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, so I think the answer to Keith and why was it pop when it wouldn't be pop? I think my answer to that is the late 80s, early 90s sound got very CNC Music Factory. It got very like whoop, there it is. It got very cheesy, right?
Mhm.
And so when Protect Your Neck comes out, when the Infamous comes out, we're all just like, holy shit.
Mm.
Like it's like we're watching Tales from the Crypt for the first time. And I think that was the allure of that.
I
The
think
contrast, you know.
I think one of the smartest things that Wu ever did was put that in the interview sections on 36 Chambers,
Oh,
because talking about all the artists, the different guys made it feel like they had their own little world, and you
Oh
really
yeah.
wanted to get into that world and find out more about Inspector Deck or whoever. And I think the creation of their own universe was really their strongest point, I feel.
Hmm.
yeah, 100%. No,
It's hard to do that nowadays. I think it's much harder to create a mystique and a mystery and a world around you.
and I think Griselda did for a while, right? Because
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Conway's over there and he does this, and Benny's over here and he does that, and West Side is the action, and they did that, but people grow up and grow older, right? And they don't want to be in the same spots, or maybe they do, and like the missions change, the goals change, right?
Mm.
So it's not like sometimes rap fans will be like, oh, the downfall of X, and you're like, it's not the downfall, it's just the growth. They grew out of it, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
They grew to another place, like and that's where like so Drake, to go on a little Drake run here.
Yeah.
That transition.
K is here. We have to talk about Drake. So
No.
but one of the things Drake did that was smart in the beginning was he grabbed his producers and kind of put them in a prison cell and made them work for him, right? He was like, you make beats for me, 40 and
40.
and all that.
Brilliant.
And what that meant was you could only get that sound from him,
Mm.
right? If you're working with everybody, then you sound like everybody.
Where did that guy come from? 40? Is he like a
Yeah,
Toronto dude?
yeah, he's
He is,
Toronto
yeah.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Does he do the new stuff?
I think he touched out. He didn't do. I don't think he's made like anything original like he used to do. I think he just touches up things.
So basically he's using producers everyone else is using nowadays.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming that's why he's lost a bit of the magic.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe because when you are making music with another person that is inspiring you and you're bouncing off of that, like I think that really touches something,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
In you. And I think that's kind of gone, right?
Mm.
And for me, it's interesting because we talked about, for me, you can see, I think that Drake was the what's the word? I forgot the word that I want to use, but I think hip hop really changed with Drake in terms of how he did his albums. Like if you look at the first half of his career, you know, he had these really important, you know, musical statements projects. Like he had So Far Gone. Well, I forgot the mixtape. I think Thank Me Later.
Yep.
Take Care.
Yep.
If you're reading this or something, what's it
If you're
called?
reading this too late. And then I think after, if you're reading this, it's too late. Views and what Scorpion started to kind of veer into like that playlist category album. Like, okay, I got to make something for everyone. Let
And
me
more,
put
more
20
life lead
songs
right
on.
into that. More life was just like, this is a
Yeah,
play.
More Life.
And-
Yes. Yeah. I got to make, and he did. That's
He
funny
even
because
made
he
a
did mention
dance
More Life as
essentially to
a
get on
playlist.
TikTok, didn't he? One of those songs was like essentially a dance to get on TikTok. It was a
Yeah.
TikTok song, like.
Oh, what was that song? Right, Left. It's the song he did about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but I don't think it's like the rise and fall of Drake. I think it's like Drake's been on top for a long time.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
And pop sounds less adventurous now, so does he.
Mm.
Like he goes with that wave. He's not really somebody who creates new sounds. He
Right.
kind of
But do
takes
you think
sounds,
that
makes them
that
yeah.
that's the playlist generation? Because if you want your song to be on the playlist, that has to be akin to everything else on that playlist.
Right.
That's a good
So
point.
like that's why you don't have people booking the trend as much, because it's not so safe.
Right.
No.
And you know, to talk about, you know, you mentioned how Wu-Tang evolved in regards to what the environment was. Like no one's replacing Drake because like no one there hasn't been anything that has evolved in contrast to what is right now.
Mm.
So we're just left in this vacuum where, yeah, I mean, quote unquote, Drake is on top numbers wise, but I mean, he's not really the top dog in my opinion. It's just I hate this argument of, you know, I've got the most number ones, because that's all they use right now is I got the most number ones, but he's not. When I think of the top, he's not like the best.
But
Right,
it
right,
feels
right.
like female rap is what's kind of on top, is it? I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
there's been a lot like Flo Millie and Glorilla, and yeah, just a lot of really interesting voices in that category. But I think the playlist thing is dead on. But in my head, pitching a scenario, right? Drake just gets away from his kind of farm of producers, and
Mm.
he's like, you know what, I'm gonna just do a full album with V Don, you know. I think he would have a lot more fun with that.
Well, funny enough,
The album
I
would
can't
become
help
really
but
good.
think, why don't more 90s rappers or 2000 rappers come back and make records with underground producers? I suppose kind of like what Muggs is
Yeah.
doing the opposite way. That like he's taking younger guys and making lots of records with them. I can't understand for the life of me why, just pick your 90s rapper or 2000 rapper who just doesn't come back
They don't
and
really
start.
know. I don't think they know like their children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
But like
know,
imagine Method Man and V Don or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I think
right.
that type of stuff could easily happen, but I don't understand why it doesn't. I suppose people are tired.
There have been instances of it, and it's been really weird. So thinking of a few examples, Juicy J, been incredibly influential, and it's still, by the way, an incredible producer. Gives Megan great work. He found out that there was a group of kids in New Orleans called the Suicide Boys, who were just clearly influenced by 3 6 Mafia.
Hmm.
And he worked with them, took them on tour with him, and kind of drained their energy, so to speak. Like they really weren't the same after that, but he had a good time. And what was there's another one that I was trying to think of, but yeah, there like you can think of like Space Ghost Perp being like a children of that generation, and then working with Gangsta Boo or whatever. Like there's
I
people that
suppose Mello did it a bit with Razkaz and OC.
oh
But
yeah.
like more of that stuff, I thought more of that type of stuff would happen.
Oh, God, what was I thinking? It was Planet Asia does a lot of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Planet Asia has to get a lot of credit for working with Del Digga and just all kinds of interesting younger producers,
Mm.
interesting producers staying up on things. Yeah.
One of my favorite rap comeback albums that I feel like didn't get that much love is the Reverend Run Distortion album. Did any of you guys hear that?
No.
It's
Oh,
like it's fucking crazy. It's like I think all the beats are this dude, white boy, that's like I think he was like Joe Budden's man or something. And I
Okay.
know this sounds like super I'm not like setting this up to be like it's fire, but it just is. It's like crazy, weird, minimal beats and just like him rhyming exactly like the beginning of Run DMC, super short and sweet. But I don't know that, like I could see every rapper from that era as well, like doing something
Mm.
like that with, like
And
like I've always wondered, like okay, so me and my wife, we live in the Bronx now,
mhm.
and it's been really cool this summer to go to these like like 50th anniversary of hip hop block parties and shit, and see like Spoonie G
Yeah.
rock a set or something.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know, it's like talking to some of these people a little bit. I'm like, it would just be so fucking ill if there was just like a Shaw Rock album or
Right.
something.
Mm.
But like I feel like some of them are like so from another era that they're like, I don't know, maybe they're afraid that
Yeah.
they wouldn't fit in, or they're just like, I feel like some of them are from the time before there even really was albums. So they're like they've never even really like conceptualized themselves as being like an album artist or something like that, you know?
Did you ever, Keech? Did you ever hear Bronx Dundee?
No, no.
It's by Snagapus and Ramsey.
Okay.
And Snagapus is one of those old
Yeah.
hardcore,
Yeah, I know something. Yeah.
and it's fucking awesome. Like it's awesome. My number one in that bracket, by the way, Keech, is like Slick Rick. I'm really pissed that I didn't get a bunch of Slick Rick albums. Like
Right.
Slick Rick's amazing. I can't, and when he shows up on features, he destroys features.
Yeah. I
To
remember
this day.
I kind of I feel like I liked the one that came out around like 2000 or like 99 or 2000.
Oh yeah, you
Storytelling.
mentioned Slick Rick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that had
Yeah.
everybody on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
I
I
feel like
love
there
it.
was some solid stuff on there.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
But
love that one. Yeah.
that's 24 years old now, so that doesn't count as the new comeback.
No, but he was on the Ecstatic, Most Def, and killed it on that song.
Yeah.
He's been
He's on the new mugs.
yes, he's on the new Mugs, destroys
Yeah.
that. He's still super sharp. I'm like, why? Why are you not out there? Like, but it's I don't know. Sometimes it's just a matter of like, who are you comfortable with, who you know. But
Yeah.
like
Right.
that's why like it's fun to hear this new Chic Luch album, because it's like the kind of rap that he used to make is very popular now.
Mm.
Right.
He should get to enjoy this and be like, yeah, like let's fucking around and have fun. Uh, take the winning lap, the victory lap. So
I
yeah.
saw him, it was like a night off on tour. I saw him open for Ghostface in Manchester, New Hampshire,
Yep.
and it was like such a cool vibe. He just seemed like the most down to earth type dude. And it was, it's like a show where there's like 80 people there or something. And like, I don't know. It just seemed like I felt like really inspired by just being like, oh, this dude's like grinding on a level not really that far removed from us, even though he was like on top and kind of just like keeping in good spirits about it or something.
Yeah, no, he's always been the Locks member that had the most fun.
Yeah.
That's his claim to fame, right?
That makes
Jada
sense.
was like top 5 dead or alive. Jada, Styles P was at one point, he was like the hardest dude, and that was his thing, and he had to kind of defend that spot on the mountain, and it seemed very stressful. Sheik was always having just a ball as the third member.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's 2023 has, that's why like that playlist thing, experts said is really cool, really important, because that's why you're hearing a lot of beats and going, this is a little baby beat again, like with somebody else, why are these the same kind of beats? So they can fit on that playlist together. Whereas the Underground has a bunch of different sounds, right? Like that art rap thing is still happening in a big way, and it's developing, and like there's even different levels of it. And Sun Mundi's album is great, and Unsung the Rapper's album is great. Hand Painted Model Trains, like all that stuff, you can go on that like really artistic, super artistic, grimy tip, but you can also just go and listen to Recognize Ali go nuts, on boom bap beats, and have it just be beautiful and lovely. Like there's lots of different space, because I don't think we care about making playlists in that way.
Yeah.
Does that
Agreed.
make sense? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Some people have had some impressive years, though. We should talk about. Yeah.
So, I mean, I it's funny because I ask a lot of people like, what's your favorite album this year? And I've gotten this response multiple times from multiple different people and different backgrounds, I guess you could say. The response I've gotten is I don't listen to albums.
Boom.
And I mean, that's such a foreign concept to me, I think, but I like having this discussion, I'm really starting to digest. I think that most mainstream, I mean, like in the underground, I think like it's almost like a boutique chic. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that right, but it's almost like a boutique shop, I guess you could say. Like, albums are like, people don't listen to full projects anymore.
Right. Yeah, like it's almost like,
yeah.
I think of it almost like people still like paint, but nobody really like looks at paintings like they used to. But people still do it, and there is still this world of people that give a fuck and find a place to put them up and everything. But ultimately, you kind of gotta get with the reality that like no one might be like listening to this from beginning to end, or just a small amount of people will, compared to
Yeah, no, it's but I think as an artist, people have to remember they have control of this kind of thing, right? Like, so Kay, think about it. Like, I'll bet you people listen to No Name's album all the way through.
Yes.
They like, you don't click on a No Name album for the single.
Right.
I'm going to turn up to this single and then move on. Like, you want to hear what No Name's perspective is. And Kendrick had that and popularized that, but like, Rhapsody's supposed to be dropping this year, and I'm willing to bet people are going to be listening to that front to back, right? If you're a Rhapsody fan, you're in it for that front to back experience. So it's, you have control over how you do it. And if you choose to like do the kind of singles thing or whatever, and like, that guy Kyle, Does anybody remember Kyle?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Is this
No.
just a guy? His name is just Kyle, and
Right.
he like has lots of pop singles that have been hits with Yachty, with all these other people, but no one cares about his albums at all.
Right, right.
His albums come out, they go nowhere. They're just like repositories for his singles.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's
I'm sure that
weird.
was the same back in the 60s and the 50s, kind
Yeah.
of put out the hits and put in some filler. Do you know what I mean? That's nothing new either.
No, it's a dangerous game to play living off singles.
Mm.
It just isn't. It's hard to sustain because as Keech is pointing out, if your audience isn't heavily invested in you, like, then they can move on pretty quickly.
Hey, it's worked for Rick Astley.
You know? Yeah, yeah.
If you can have a couple of big hits, you're sorted for life.
You got work. You can play the hits. But no, it's been interesting to watch it. But I want to salute some people who've been making great music.
Are we talking producers
Yeah,
or
producers. Talking
producers?
producers. And do earlier I talked about my little gold prospector thing. I think my view is producers. Whenever I talk to producers, I feel like they're thinking about it the same way I am. That they're not really looking to listen to everything. They're just looking for gold, you know. And so it's been very cool to talk to producers and be like, oh, this is kind of how I'm thinking about it. But Televangel is an MVP candidate for me, because he gave a sound to an area that didn't really have a signature sound.
Hmm. Yeah, I really, really rate Televangel. I think he's great.
What's his area?
Northwest.
Okay, cool.
He's from Portland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, it's weird. It digs into your subconscious, right? If you say close your eyes and picture a West Coast beat, what I'll be hearing in my head will be a DJ Quick, like Quick
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
If you're like close your eyes, then I do the same process with like an East Coast beat. I'm probably going to be hearing a Gangstar beat.
Yeah.
Like it's just something that digs into you and like it becomes a definition for you, right?
And
and I
he
think
did
he's
he do
given that
stuff
to
with Sleep
Portland area.
Sinatra?
Yeah.
Okay. That dude's shit, I feel like every producer he works with is just crazy. I love all those Sleep Sinatra projects.
Oh man,
Yeah, he's great.
yeah. Incorruptible Saints is probably the best. Like
Okay, yeah.
it's
Agreed. Yeah.
that is the best of Sleep lyrically. That's one of the smartest albums of 2023. It's and I talked to Televangel, was like, I don't know how you got it. You got the best out of this dude who's already being an incredibly smart, thoughtful individual, but
Yeah.
like you pushed him to another level somehow.
Mm.
And yeah, expert, how would you describe Televangel's sound?
It's funny you asked that question because I was only talking to someone about him the other day, and I can't pinpoint it, but he definitely has his own sound. But he kind of mixes his records in a way that's quite unique to other people, I think. It's like I actually don't know how I describe it. I do think it is psychedelic to a degree. It's kind of warbly boom bap. Like,
Yeah.
and that's a very weird, I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
Gotta be in the conversation. Warbly has to be in the conversation.
yeah, it's all kind of yeah, I don't know, but I love how he mixes his drums. It's quite different to a lot of how a lot of producers are mixing their drums at the moment. And yeah, I really rate him. Like not that no one cares or whatever, but he's probably, I think, has had the best producer of the year in our world. I think he's great.
Word.
I think
And I don't know the dude. Do you know that? Like,
no,
this is just, I just think he's great. Yeah.
we've interviewed him twice this year. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
and we just talked to him a little bit ago with Milk because we love the Fish That Save Portland. It's a great album.
I
And
will say though, I have only listened to the Pink Navel once, and Kenny's obviously rules.
Kenny's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's yeah. So I would say with Televangel, he comes from cloud rap, and cloud rap to me, the production styles were mesmerizing, right? That was the thing. It was ambiance to the nth degree. But he brings that, but he also his tracks knock enough and seem primal enough in a hip hop sense that you get both. You get the knock and you get the mesmerizing cinematic feel with Televangel. That's how I would feel about it.
Yeah.
Keech, have you heard a lot of Televangel this year at all? Or
I guess I mean I've been checking for a lot of Sleep Sinatra stuff. I don't really know which is him and which is not.
fair?
The track, this is a couple years old, but
Yeah.
do you know? I don't know who did the beat for one of his tracks. It's called like Poncho in the Villa or something like that. Does it? Never mind. But whoever did that is crazy.
Cool. The the other one is Steel Tip Dove.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Steel Tip Dove has worked with everybody.
And sorry, to go back to that point about earlier having loads of albums out a year but sounding the same, you definitely can't say that about Steel Tip Dove.
No, Dove is crazy.
The
yeah.
first track on that Nosage project that's like one of my favorite beats in a long time.
That Massage album is still
Yeah.
that's my favorite of what he's done this year. The Andrew album's really good. And the Decay album is excellent. Excellent. That album is really good. And man, he just dropped an AJ Suede album that's dope, really dope.
Right.
How would you say the producer, like we talked about how artists have evolved, how would you say the producers in today's times have evolved as compared to how producers used to operate like in the early 2000s, late 90s?
Well, technology just makes things so much faster. I think that you can make beats quicker and easier. And I presume it was like this a bit back in the day, but obviously you can send beat pack because of email and online. We can send beat packs to people really quickly and easily. I know that's not everyone's style. I know like Controller 7 never sends beat packs. He sends like kind of like his vision of a project, or so people work in different ways. But yeah, I think speed and just speed, because how quickly you can get it to people and how quickly you can make music, I think is the biggest difference.
Yeah.
I also I've been thinking about how there's more of like a place for producers or something now. It seems, I don't know, like my first couple albums, I didn't do any of the beats on them, and it's like, I don't know, it just always felt kind of like, I always wondered, I'm like, what are people really getting out of this? Just having it say like track 7 produced by so and so, like inside your CD or whatever. And I feel like now there's way more awareness there, and people that are interested in like who made the beat and how they made it, or what the producer's vision is, or so. Like, I feel like that stuff
Who's getting the headline as well with
yeah.
Hopefully part of that is what me and Kay do, that there's this kind of sub strata of weird indie podcasts, Next Movement, Crate 808, RMPP, Rap Music Club podcast, like that we are super nerdy, and we want to know how it was mixed. We want to know how it was done. And so when we get those projects, we're digging into the credits like, wow, okay, you produced this one, or who produced that one? And we're actively discussing it with one another. And that's, yeah.
And I also think that the one producer album allows for people to create a world or a vision. And I think, dare I say, often brings out the best in these artists, the one producer albums, because they can give them that vision and sound. Whereas if you're getting like, 50 beat packs from 50 guys, it's hard to make all that match together. And I think that's why often albums, that's where they fought their downfall, really. Obviously, if you have
Totally.
a good ear or a producer, someone who can kind of, okay, well, you need that beat and this beat and this beat because they all work together. But a lot of people haven't had enough exposure of working with people to understand how that works.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the best comparison for it is like comic books. We didn't, like, when I was a kid, we didn't really know a lot of times who the illustrator was or who the writer was or whatever. We're enjoying the comic book, and now there's a lot. There's a lot of value put on it. So like Ed Brubaker does Criminal with Sean Phillips, and it becomes Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, right? And so, Def C does Trapdoor with Messiah Music. It's Def C Messiah Music. And now when they do Golem of Brooklyn, there's an excitement, not just because it's a Def C project, but because it's a reuniting of those great people who did that great project.
Yeah,
There's
I agree.
awareness. Yeah.
Same with Kenny Siegel, whenever he's and stuff.
Yeah, with Maps, people were excited to, oh wow, this duo is back. And like, credit to Woods. Woods is excellent at managing relationships and building on relationships. So him and Kenny wanted to make an album that was different than not just Hiding Places, but anything else either of them have done. So when Maps came out, Woods fans weren't offended because they expected that. That's what he's been doing. So if you build that expectation that you're going to be doing different kinds of work with different kinds of producers, it's different. It's better,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, sorry for Keech there, like it's how Hemlock has done one album producers, like he did Kenny and now he's not, and like it's interesting how some artists decide to do that as well for their own vision of how their body of work should look as well.
Right. Yeah, that is like, I think there's some people that are like that, and there's some people, I feel like there's some people that just naturally will write to any beat that floats their way, whether they ultimately get to use it or not. And then there's some people that are like kind of like set out from the beginning with like, this one other person and I are gonna like see this out to the end, kind of.
As one of the things that we talked to when we talked to Video Dave and Controller 7, like, Video Dave doesn't just rap. Like, Video Dave is a storyteller, right? Like, and sees the stories in things,
right?
And so him and Controller 7 make sense together because they visualized the shit out of that album, right? And they had a common goal in that sense. And so that's what makes it hard. There's a Willie Green interview everybody should listen to. Willie Green on the Rap Music Book podcast, where he kind of makes the case for why underground folks don't like to listen to popular music that much. He said basically in the underground, we're always pushing each other to experiment, to try new things, to do new things, right? The people that are our heroes in this are doing that. So if you're not challenging yourself, why would we care? And I think that's still a divide,
Yeah. But I will say something negative, so you'll be happy here that
Yes.
on a producer. But like, let's say someone who at the start I thought was interesting, did good stuff, but now it's gotten to a stage where like I literally will never listen to their music again, really. Apollo Brown, okay?
Okay.
I just think it's gotten to a stage where he's just recycled the same kind of methods over and over again. Or else he's taking the drums out for Planet Age or whatever. Like, but like he's not that, and don't get me wrong, he is a good, really good producer, but it's just like the repetition. It's kind of like the rapper who's like, it's the
Yeah.
repetition. It's just, I've had enough now. He, whether it's a rapper or a producer like that, they may be making some of the best music they ever have, but because they've been doing it so long in the same vein, I've got off the train. So
Yeah.
like now
Yeah. I mean,
that's my fault for getting off the train, but like yeah, I just don't know. I don't know why you'd want to make the same record like 10 times. That's not my bag.
it's weird. I understand your feeling on it just because um producers are like anybody else, right? Like you can hear when they're excited for what they're doing and when they're not, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I didn't, when you listen to Apollo Brown's new stuff, like I would, my dividing line would be the album with Chez Noir, which I love.
Right.
That
So,
album,
so I've got off the train. Yes,
that
and
album
maybe I
Chez
should.
Noir, he got
Yeah.
some real great stuff out of it. It was awesome. And then after that, it felt like there wasn't a clear sense of mission anymore. Um, and it kind of went rudderless, but like my contrast would be Uncommon NASA, right? Been around for 1,000 years. Escalation is fun as hell,
Mm.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because he got NASA kind of loves to work in these dirty, beat up, rigid sounds, jagged sounds,
Yeah.
and formulate them into something. And Guilty Simpson's a perfect voice to do that with. They had a ball, you know. See, you could tell NASA was really into it because that verse he has as a guest verse on that album is to me one of the best verses he's had in years.
Mm.
Like he
Yeah,
was really
definitely.
on it. And you could tell, you could just feel how excited he was. I think that was just me. It's like I when I'm hearing a producer, I can hear how they're dealing with the sounds emotionally a little bit too. If I've heard
Yeah,
a lot of their work, does that make sense?
totally.
Yeah,
And that's cool. I don't know. That's a cool thing to keep in mind because I feel like sometimes, I don't know. I think sometimes it's easy to get lost in that. Like, especially um, like for me, I've definitely like done a lot of like one-off beats and stuff for people,
yeah.
and those are a little different because like I know I'm excited when I made it. You don't know when they're actually going to use it or what's going to happen with it. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I imagine that's got to be different. Like I imagine sometimes things get lost in translation or whatever. But I don't know. It's just cool to think about like there's people out there that can like feel the energy or the excitement from not just the vocals but from everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not from this year, but it's kind of example of what I was talking about. That when Messiah Music put out the album Church with Woods, right? Some
Yeah.
people actually were hitting me like, I don't like this, it's too slow, it's too uh it's it's not a fun listen kind of thing. Uh and I responded was like, no, this is a relationship record. Like Messiah Music has been working with Woods for years. They've both come up together from when they weren't that important to now.
Right.
And this album celebrates their relationship. It celebrates what they have in common, what they love together about music. Uh,
Right.
that to me, that it's like a buddy cop. It's like a buddy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think about like say like take someone like Brian Eno, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
like in my mind, there's like that Eno Fripp record that I love, that like Evening Star, and
Mhm.
there's like a few different things like that. And I think sometimes I forget there's actually like, if I look on his Wikipedia page, it's like, oh, there's like 50 other like duo collabs or like trios or whatever that are like, yeah, that maybe didn't like hit as hard, but it's more just about like these two people like sharing this experience, or like, you know, like building in this one particular block of time or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it kind of, I feel like when I noticed that, it made me be like, oh yeah, it's not, it's like, I don't know, like yeah, like not everything's supposed to be like a smash hit forever or
Yeah,
whatever, you know.
it's an experience.
Yeah.
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 Actually, I think the last time I was on here to you guys, I was just kind of saying how like a true collaboration is like when the people actually work together, build a relationship, and do like, for me, that's part of the record. And like, it's
Right.
like, yeah, whether it hits or not, or it doesn't hit, but it's like you have that moment or that experience with that individual that, you know, you'll always have, and that kind of attached to the record, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's team chemistry, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, to put it in our sports context, right? Like, team chemistry happens when people are willing to sacrifice for each other,
Mm-hmm.
and so that happens when making albums, because the rapper will be like, I don't usually do songs like this, but you fuck with this, so I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you listen to the interview we had with Brian Ennals and Infinity Knives, you know, it's exactly that story, you know, with King Cobra, like, of him just being like, you need to do an album like this. I don't usually do a song like this, but whatever, I'll try it, you know. Sacrifices for each other, trust in each other. That's the chemistry building stuff, right? That takes things from great to genius, you know, in a weird way.
How did that work,
Right.
Keech, with you and Hemlock?
Yeah.
How did it work?
Yeah.
Oh well, okay, so I had hit him up about working on something maybe like 2019 or 2020 or something, and we we like right away banged out a few good tracks, and then like,
Did you know him before that? No.
yeah, he
I did. Yeah.
he's like somebody I met him in 2003, because
Oh
they
wow.
had like
Yeah.
there was, before Future Islands, they had kind of a proto version of that band called Art Lord and the Self Portraits, and we played with them in Greenville, North Carolina, and then on tour, and then um like right after that, I played a bunch of shows down there with, he had a rap group also down there called Square Bones, which was really cool. And so we've always played shows and stuff together, but never really thought to collab. And like, but I don't know, I really loved the his like the Trouble Knows Me, the like Mad
Yeah,
Lib
yeah, yeah.
EP and stuff. I don't know, that like blew my mind, and I was like, man, I'd like to do something with him. And like, and we worked on a few songs, and then he came with all these other songs, like tons of sets of lyrics, and they were like, it's kind of wild. A bunch of them were recorded back then during that Trouble Knows Me time, so they're on like no BPM, and like he just had all these like vocals, and he's like, can you work with these? And I was like, totally. And like I started like playing around with like building beats on top of these sets of vocals, which I love. I don't know about you, I love doing that. Like,
I love that too.
yeah, it's so, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like it's so tight, where it's like, all right, the story's already there, the characters are already
Yeah.
there, and like, so I don't know, I feel like the bulk of the album was more that, like
Okay.
him bringing out these older songs, and that was like, I don't know, that I feel like that really like started to click, you know,
Mm.
and then like there it kind I feel like we were like almost done, and then he had sort of relocated to Sweden for a while, and like everything
Alright.
just slowed down, but then it like sped up again, and like um and yeah, it was a really cool process, you know.
So how did you decide the sonic palette? Sorry, I've taken over here, Dana.
Oh,
No,
I'm just
no, no.
I'm interested. Yeah, how did you because you know the way that's normally the thing. You go, what type of sounds will I give this guy? Like, how did you decide that?
Well, I think almost every track, what I wanted to do originally, like if it was all me, and I'm glad it didn't turn out this way, but like I think it would have been all like hard psych type beats, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and
Still
I
kind
don't
of
know.
is.
Yeah, there's a good amount of them, but like I felt like he loves like ballads and like mellow
Hmm.
type stuff, and I, like I think I had a whole lot of fun, like where a lot of times it's like there would be a demo version and it would have been over more of like a jazz beat or something, to
Yeah.
be like, I had a whole lot of fun being like, what if this was like, you know, super, not like aggressive, but just super intense and hard instead. And
Hmm.
so that's like, that's what I went for. And then we did, I feel like when the time was right, we did ease into more like the ballad type
Yeah,
territory,
yeah,
you know.
Mm.
yeah, man. One thing I'll say about the record, the drums bang.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
I think that's one thing you guys have in common, right? Is that like you both play with psychedelic sounds, but they're not drifty. They don't end up drifty, if that makes
Mm.
sense. You don't end up rudderless. Like the songs still bang. Both of
Yeah.
you really love momentum.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things. Like, I feel like a psychedelic's a funny word because, like, I feel like today it really just means cool or, or good
Or
or something.
drugs or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, yeah.
but like I think, yeah, I think we both have we share a similar era of time that we like,
Mm.
where it's like almost more toward, it's almost like far enough ago that you'd more just call it garage or rock
Mm.
and roll or whatever. But yeah, yeah, I feel you. There's like, there's also there, you can also explore more like the Pink Floyd psych, that's more, yeah, more hazy and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
bassy or something.
Yeah. But you and Keech, you're like you have you have a love, it seems, for like old school sounds.
Yeah,
The old school rap sounds, right? Like
yeah,
in terms of that era, kind of Run DMC on. So like that momentum mixed with the some of the hazy 60s stuff, crazy guitars, it makes it a lot of fun. So when I was listening to Fall Collection, I was like, oh shit, like because Keech is producing this, Hemlock's just gonna shred every song lyrically. He's just gonna be going nuts on this. But as it goes on and you listen to Hog Saga and Oregon Shore, you're like, oh my God, there's breakup songs on this. There's
yeah,
political shit on this. This is a
yeah,
deep record, man. This is really cool.
yeah. I feel like he really opened my mind up as far as like lyricism and stuff. Like I feel like, I don't know, like I drift towards a lot of stuff just as a listener. I drift towards a lot of stuff that's like I listen to a lot of like older like southern rap and stuff, and I'm not, like, I feel like I'm not really always like looking for like people to like teach me a lesson or like
Yeah, yeah.
give me information necessarily, but like, but I don't know, like he really like, so like that, yeah, like that Hog Saga song, like it really like, I'm like, damn, it's really like an intelligent and kind of appealing like perspective on those types of issues, and you know, and like, yeah, I don't know, like I found myself. I found myself like wanting to know more. Like we were working on the song, so I'm like, "What did you mean by that?" Where sometimes like I
Yeah.
feel the opposite. Like I don't know.
No, that shit is real, man. It was, and it's an album that's a really good re-listen because you do find more and more like that.
Right, right.
I wanted to talk about an album because we talked about like uh pop sounds, right? I had everybody listen to like CMG, the label. They have like a series and had Glorilla, Black Youngster, like everybody on there. A lot of fun. I think Yo Gotti's done a great job building that label, ESTG. I think those are fun things. And what I know Zilla Rocca loves that shit. I know he loves Moneybag Yo. I know he loves Yo Gotti. I know he listens to that stuff. So when I heard Stacking Chips, one of my first thoughts was, oh shit, this album is a bridge. The Jason Griff album with Zilla Rocca. This
Yeah,
album is a bridge between the underground world and the CMG world
I could see that.
because he loves
Yeah.
both.
Right, right.
He doesn't want to lose what he loved, right? About that's why you hear him rapping over a Cypress Hill instrumental on Belly and just having fun, right? He's still having fun, but he over and over again he told C Money Burns, "I want this to sound like a Juicy J record."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He wanted the sounds in your face. So I just thought it was good to mention that album because it's kind of one of a kind in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that comp, I was I feel like my main takeaway is I felt like every woman on the album kind of stole the show. I thought so. Like on the
On the CMG.
yeah.
Glorilla's amazing. I
Yeah.
love Glorilla. Yeah.
How about you guys? What stood out to you guys?
What do you
Sorry, this the kind of drill trappy one you sent me, was it?
Yeah, CMG, the label Gangsta Art 2, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not your
not,
normal thing, I know.
not my cup of tea, but
Yeah.
I suppose being like it sounded polished and like clean and all that, but yes, I suppose it's just not my bag, you know. That's really like so I couldn't really I feel not the correct person to kind of talk about it, if that makes sense.
Layla Samia also great on that album. Sexy Red, great verse. Yeah. 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 It's
What do you think of it, Kay?
It was fun.
it was fun. That's
It
it.
was fun. That's yeah, but it's like, you know, it just gets to me like I just feel like a lot of the mainstream artists they're just single artists. So I don't like we'll go with Sexy Red. I know her some of her songs, but I don't really feel like I know her as an artist. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
she hasn't
right.
had like that she hasn't had that important body of work, that album where I'm like, okay, I feel like I know who this person is, this artist is. So when I hear like collections like this, it's just like a collection of artists over some fun songs, and that you take it for what it is and then you walk away.
Right.
I don't think I'll be going back to any of them, but
No, but I think it's a lot of times popular music has like a utility to it, right? You can see that this would be Gangsta Art 2 would be good to throw in the vehicle if you were going to the club to cause trouble.
yes.
Right.
Right? As a good record to throw in for that. But you're right. How interested are you in a full body of work from 42 Doug or from any of the people on there? I don't know. 5 Foreign is somebody who is a really important like New York drill guy,
Right.
but I really couldn't care less about, and I don't think I've ever connected to anything that he's done. There's something missing there in terms of why do I care about you, you know?
Right.
And like somebody like Mozzie, who's also on that, has that for me. I love Mozzie. I've always been tuned in to Mozzie. It's just weird like that, but I think the kind of trap drill sounds, because they're so pervasive, they kind of put a lot of pressure on the rapper to differentiate the song.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
It's weird like hearing like living here and hearing like kids like play this like New York drill stuff everywhere. It's like maybe I just need to learn more like what the different styles are, but like I feel like the New York drill shit sounds to me like the beats are like wildly different from song to song. Like I feel like what I think of as trap is more like it's one sound, and then the drill shit to me almost sounds like some like jungle EDM 90s type stuff or something. Like I don't know, it seems like it just jumps all over the place, which is really cool to me, you know?
Yeah, it's it's interesting to hear, and every once in a while there'll be somebody who, like, I thought trap was dead on its feet when Kevin Gates came out, and then
Okay.
he kind of reinvigorated it and gave it a new thing. And I think it was like that when Little Baby first came out. Like, it kind of keeps getting new legs here and there, but I think there needs to be waves of new curators and sonics, and to what Kay's putting out, like Kay was talking about, like, we need people that we care about ultimately. We need, we need the pop drill version of the relationship music that we get from Def C and Messiah Music, right?
Right,
But we
right,
need
right.
that with you and your trap producer or drill producer.
Right. The one thing that fucks me up with this drill shit is I'll like hear a song and like think it sounds cool, and then I'll like try to remember a line so I can like Google it later and figure out what it is. And like you'll realize like the song is about like an actual murder that these kids did, or like
Yeah.
that they're saying they're gonna do or whatever. Like I don't know. I'm like, is there any of it? And this might just be just New York, but like, is there any of it that's not extremely negative on some like?
Well, I think that stems from the British version, isn't it? Like that is crazy, like violent. Like as far as I know, like it's definitely on. I think that's the thing with drill, as far as I know.
Mhm.
Suppose it's the new, 1988 NWA or whatever, you know.
Right, right. But that seemed more like general, like we're telling you a story about we would do this, or so, but this is like we're doing this tomorrow to this specific person or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's rough when you're like,
The police are like that about it, I'd say.
Right, right, right.
when you're rapping about killing Dominic, and then tomorrow's news is like Dominic is dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
rather than fuck the police, it's like we're telling the police what's happening, you know.
Right, right.
The song really changes the feel of that. But yeah, it's I think those tones are dark, right? Drill tones were created to be like darker versions of trap. When I think of trap, I thought of like, the Jeezy, you know, the Jeezy thing, which was like Jeezy was rapping about dark street life shit, but he was kind of a motivational speaker in that realm. He was kind of
Right, right.
people to get money, and because of that, he made he made it fun sounding, right? Waka Flocka, same deal, right? He made it sound fun, even though he was talking about a lot of the same stuff that's going to happen to Dominic, but drill pulled the fun out
Mm,
and just left us with the darkness.
okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, I could see that.
it's darkness on darkness. It's like intense dark chocolate thing, you know.
the infamous on heroin.
The flavor is just not
Mm.
for everybody. Um
But couldn't there be like I feel like there could be some new wave where it's like some like a Tribe Called Quest style guys do some new drill.
I mean, I
or
think
something.
that was gonna be Pop Smoke.
right.
Oh, really?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pop Smoke was he almost I feel like he could have been the DMX of drill.
For sure. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Could have been that. Like he was incredible. His voice was incredible.
Yeah.
He was West Coast or no?
No, he was New York.
Okay.
You're right. And I mean, his voice made him very accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it just never, with him gone, I think the next guy in line was Fivio Foreign, who was just was never going to pop on that level.
Right.
Right.
So it was, it was a big loss. And maybe that's a part of this is like this new generation of people, of MCs in the pop sphere, has lost a lot of people,
Mm.
right? Extension. I met a kid whose favorite rapper was Extension, and I'm like, that's rough because
Right.
young and didn't have much. Like,
That-
um,
You know that
yeah.
me and my wife were talking about this the other day. She made a interesting point, like because I grew up in Baltimore, and there's are any of you guys familiar with Baltimore club music?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
At a,
Little bit.
it's like that's some of my favorite music that exists,
Right.
and it really just almost doesn't exist now. It was like everywhere, and people like stopped doing it, and you know, like there was like one DJ in particular, K Swift, when she died, I felt like that was a huge turning point where
Right.
where like she was kind of like the face of it in a way. And then, you know, my wife was making the point of like all this can go away at any second, even rap. It feels like rap's so here to like, it's been around for so long at this point. Feels like it'll be around forever, but like, yeah, all it takes is some people to die or some, you know, like some kind of weird thing where the next generation doesn't pick it up in the same spirit or the same way, and it can be out of here quickly. You know what I mean?
That's the warning, right? The warning is if you guard this music so that nobody else can touch it and outsiders are not welcome, then it dies with you.
Yeah.
You didn't teach it.
Right.
So we have to get out there and teach it, right? We have to, you know, play a lot of different stuff. That's why I wanted my son to see Rich Jones live or Shrapnel, you know, or, you know, I wanted him to see Sage Francis live and, you know, get a chance to like soak in what this is, you know,
Yeah.
at different levels. Yeah.
What are some of people's favorite beats of the year?
Ooh, favorite beats.
Like, what do you mean by favorite? Like the favorite types, or like?
No, I suppose some of the songs, like some of your favorite
Ooh.
beats and songs.
But I had to look at my iTunes.
You know, one I go back to constantly is "Dang" by Mac Miller. I don't know who did
But
that.
that's not from this year, is it?
Oh, from this year. Oh, we're talking about from this year. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, groovy.
But now I need to check out Dang again.
Oh, gorgeous song.
So I want to shout out like We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. I don't know if I got a chance to talk to Kay about this at all, but we talked about it while you were gone with Dylan Green and Dash Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it great beats, right? Like but they had a band play live music and a jam session, and then they had the producers involved in the album pull samples from it.
Mm.
Nice.
And I think it's just really cool, and apparently comes from a conversation that Woods had with Preservation.
Okay.
The Preservation was like, you know what you guys should do? You guys should have a live orchestrated like album, you know?
Mm.
And he was like, interesting idea. And they already had some JPEG beats, and they threw this jam session. I think there's some people from St. Melba and some people from different bands that are really dope. And they did it. And so some of my favorite beats are on there. You know what? There's a lot of them, and The Forgotten is probably one of them. Expert, you know. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just say from where I am right now, Trauma Mike is fucking insane to me. Every time I put it on, DJ Haram made that beat for the Diabetic Test Strips album. When it came out, it was insane to me that it came out, and the video had like her banging on trash cans because it simulates how dirty that beat is. It's still a beat that every time it comes on floors me, and I can't seem to wrap my mind around it.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
now you put the video. That shit is awesome.
Mm.
Yep. Yep. So let me.
Can someone tell me the name of the JPEG Mafia Danny Brown track?
Oh,
where it's like
Scaring the Hose.
Well, yeah, the
Step a Pig. No.
the track that's like got like I think it's like Japanese kids like singing
Okay.
like looped up. Do you know which one I'm talking
I
about?
don't know about
Is that the Jack Harlow combo meal one? No, I don't know. But yeah, the production on that record is nuts.
Yeah.
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 No, there's. I mean, another person, by the way, and I'm looking forward to the Tony Seltzer has an album coming with Wyke that I think is going to be amazing, because Tony Seltzer did Pangea with Gabe Nandez, and that album's just fun as shit.
Mm.
Oh man, so many crazy. I don't know. Some of my favorite albums of the year and some of my favorite beats of the year are so weird.
I'll
that-
give a shout out to a few.
Go ahead.
So some of my favorite beats this year are Babylon by Bus, Kenny Siegel, When
Oh.
Them Strings Kick In,
Yep.
bananas. Mimosa, produced by Moriarty for Capri Sun. I really like some of the Alex DeLarge King Cashmere beats. Spectacular Diagnostics and Now Really Husker Du. Love that beat. And the left pitch, or the left kind of one out of nowhere, because I can't believe I even like not a rapper who would normally be on my radar. But Macklemore with Primo, the beat Heroes is fucking spectacular. Whoever did that beat.
I love that he like Premiere will like never phone it in. Like I feel like sometimes I've just like I'll be like investigating a sample on usample or whosample.com and I'll like come across like it'll be like Premiere fucked with this, and it's just some random weird ass project that I don't even know what it is, and it's like one of the greatest beats I've ever heard.
Yeah,
you know?
Paula Perry or something. I know, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
genius.
Yep.
But actually, he didn't produce that Macklemore joint.
Oh, he didn't.
No, but that's the only reason I listened to it.
Right.
I thought it was Primo, but it's actually some other guy. I think his name is Buddha or something, but it's incredible, that beat.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
So here. Oh, okay. I got a few more to add to the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Nevermind Part 2, but produced by Mono and Stereo. Uh
Who's that now?
Homeboy Sandman rapped over
Oh
it.
yeah,
Rich album. That's crazy. That beat's crazy. Guitar samples have been really great this year. Two, I'll give you two from Whence It Came. The Young Morpheus album.
yeah.
One is that Heavy Bag song that is like the crazy dance track. I love that shit. That shit's crazy. But the ugliest beat that is the most beautiful is by Kutma. Young Morpheus produced Heavy Bags near the cell towers. Kutma, track 4.
I love that record. And
Insane.
my favorite would be Where It Goes, which is Dirty Art Club. The first one, it's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And of oh man, there's so many on the
You know what? That Real Bad Man record that Blue did, I really like the beats on that.
Which one?
The Blue record with Real Bad Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back to it, but I need to check it out. I heard it was good. Blue releases a lot, so it's kind of hard to get traction with any specific record, but he's got
And
some.
the new oh man, Sticks guy, Conductor Williams on the West Side Gun one.
Oh,
Suicide and Selfridges, I think it is. That beat is crazy.
I love Conductor. Love Conductor. Yeah. No, it's been great. And yeah, you guys have made some of my favorite beats as well.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
Anything else you wanted to throw in about
No,
trends?
no.
We're good. Let's go to recommendation corner. Recommend some ill music for the people. Oh yeah. Also, let me try to do one more beat here. I'll pick one from another one of my favorite albums. The album's Real Bitches Don't Die, by Carrie Foe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the producer, I can't remember the producer's name. Credit your producers, people. But it's somebody she's worked with a lot, and he's awesome. But I think maybe White Caprice with Gangsta Boo is bananas. Money Angels. Oh, I love Money Angels. But yeah, that album's amazing. Let me see. Trying to find with this fucking. You got to credit the producers on Bandcamp, people.
No, yeah, I long for the day producers are on all these platforms.
It's crazy. You gotta do this. You gotta credit these people. They do all your records. Come on now. But yeah, I don't know. She works very specifically with someone very closely who's really dope. And has done a lot of good work. I just don't remember. I can't find it on the thing. But let's transition here. Okay. My first recommendation, White People Stole My House, the album by Teller Banks. Teller Banks was on an incredible run and then got banned from Twitter, lost his house, just went through a lot of shit, and now kind of is putting himself back together. Luckily, he's a great producer and a great rapper, so this is his album that is like pulling himself out of the muck, and it's great to watch. Yeah, it's awesome. So that one, I'm gonna go Lahai by Sampha. That album, really beautiful.
Okay.
Really beautiful. It's R&B album, incredibly adventurous. There's so many different sounds and kinds of songs. It's real fucking dope. I usually do 3 on here. Yep. There's a lot of good stuff. I'll go for the Shabazz Palaces, Roped in Rareness.
Oh,
Checked it out. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just came out. That's a crazy album. A lot of fun. Really Geechee Suede on track 6, killing it. Yeah, definitely check that out. Good times.
You want to go next, Keech?
What
oh
you
yeah.
recommending, Keith?
All right. Oh no.
Keech, go ahead, Keech.
Okay. I can't promise that these actually came out this year, but I
Fair.
think some of them did.
Whatever.
All right. There's this band called Pregnant that Andrew actually put me on to, and it was like, I don't know like anything about them at all. Do you guys?
No,
No.
this is awesome.
It's
No.
like it's like yeah, I really don't know much about them, but like I think he was thinking of it as something to sample, but it's like I feel like sometimes it's weird to sample something that's brand new when it already sounds like it is a sample. It's just like just let these people shine, you know what I mean? But I don't know anything about Pregnant, but there's a band called that Andrew sent me some really tight shit from. And then you main guys might already be up on, this is definitely not new, but a Boogie Boy Metal Mouth. Are you guys familiar at all?
No.
No.
Incredible. I don't even know what you would call it, but like it's like a DJ and a rapper, but it's like I don't know if it would be considered rap or not, but it's just some really incredible shit. Downstairs Neighbor is my favorite track. And then lastly, I'll say a dude from Charlotte, North Carolina called Human Pippi Armstrong. And I'll just say check the whole catalog, and it's all fire.
That's awesome. Unconventional recommendations. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
You
Yeah.
want to go, Kay, or like?
Kay, what do you recommend?
Oh man. Like I haven't really been listening to any new music recently. Yeah, so no recommendations music wise this corner. I will say so we went to a show on, was it Monday? Monday, right?
Yep, Monday.
Rich Jones performed a song that was it called Valentine? I think it was called Valentine.
Mhm.
That I really liked. Or did he release it on Valentine's Day? It was the song it was like a love song. Do you know the name of it? It was the first song he performed.
Okay, so it wasn't It's Over, was it?
No.
No, It's
Mm.
Over was dope. Was it from, my guess is that it was from the one he did with Montana Max.
Maybe it was he said he released a single on Valentine's Day.
Because the one that he had this great story about performing at Soldier Field,
mhm.
with the 20,000 fans and doing a song where ayahuasca was in the hook.
Yes.
And that was Clicks on My Phone.
No, that's not them. I'll have to come.
That's off the How Do You Sleep at Night album with
Yeah.
Monty. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll recommend that. I mean, in terms of hip hop, like it's just yeah, I mean nothing, there's nothing like new that's kind of inspiring me at the moment, but I'm sure something will come along, I'll have a solid recommendation for once.
Well,
So.
and the cool thing about it, Kay, is if you dig into Rich Jones' history or Prem Rock's history, you just find a whole history, years and years of incredible albums.
Mhm.
Like I got before I went to Chicago, I was just digging into old Rich Jones shit. And I found this album from 2015.
Wow.
And by the way, Def C was on it. So
8 years.
it's called Pigeons and Waffles. It's really dope. But that album's a very like native tongues kind of album.
Huh.
It's really beautiful. It actually has a remake of the Far Side's song. You know, let's see. Is it Can't Keep Running Away, or is it I don't know why I forget things. But Passing Me By. It's a remake of Passing Me By with a bunch of Chicago rappers, and it's really dope. It's just a real fun song where they're all just really kind of enjoying redoing the song.
Tight.
Yeah, you should definitely dig into Rich Jones. Expert, what are you recommending?
I'll recommend a classic. So, Terry Callier, What Color Is Love?
Ooh,
Classic soul, kind of folk. Then I'll recommend maybe one people haven't checked out called Searching by Ronald Langstraat. Langestarat. That album is bonkers. And then rap, who will I pick? Um,
so which
so
one was the
actually,
Ronald Langstraat? Which what was it?
it's called Searching.
Searching.
Yeah, that record is absolutely amazing.
I'm
Uh,
on I'm on the Bandcamp. There's a bunch of stuff, but I don't see. I don't know.
and then as far as rap, just someone who I think is incredible and people don't talk about enough probably, or I'd like people to talk more about Moses Rockwell. Until you run out of cake.
Moses Rockwell's great.
Amazing.
Yep. No, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was great. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Thank you guys.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that we were negative enough to be trending, but we had a real honest conversation, which was dope. Yeah. Full album. There's I'm trying to find this searching. Yep, I found it. Searching is on Bandcamp. Ronald Langstraat added it to the list.
Yeah, man, that's great.
Terry Callier, I wanted to talk to you. On Bandcamp, Prestige Records has this a compilation called the new folk sound of Terry Callier.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I keep it, and when I'm ever around like parties, I play Cotton Eye Joe, the serious version of Cotton Eye Joe, because most people have only heard the Rednecks version of Cotton Eye Joe. And so they're, oh my God, what is this? This makes me uncomfortable,
Have you heard What Color Is Love, that record?
No.
Oh my God. It's like, if there's one, please everyone give 35 minutes to listen to that record. The first song is 9.5 minutes long. The first song, how ballsy is that out the gate? Called Dancing Girl, and actually DJ Shadow sampled it, I think, in one of his records. It is fucking outstanding. Yeah.
I gotta find it. So that's I'm gonna see. Yeah. Because Terry Callier is super dope, beautiful voice. What Color Is Love? I've seen this album cover.
Yeah, amazing cover.
I've seen this album cover, definitely. 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely check that out.
Because the guy Charles Stepney, do you know him? Like, he produced all the Rotary Connection records.
Yeah.
He produced that, and it's just immaculate. Yeah.
That's awesome. I gotta check it out. Yeah, love the recommendations. Whenever we get producers on here, the recommendations are wild. And they always keep me ringing. That's one thing that I will say. This will be my last thing before I go. Is whenever people are talking shit about hip hop, like the oldest angry thing to say about hip hop is that we're stealing the music, right? We're sampling your right. My what I always come back with is the producers that I've talked to care more about this music than you ever did.
Absolutely.
They care.
Absolutely.
They don't just sample it. They deeply love the shit that they're sampling.
They know the bass players.
Right.
What's the track, like talking all that jazz.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
like
That is Sonic.
yeah, it's like it brings back old hip hop, or it brings back old R&B, and if they had not, people would have forgot.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like yeah, no one's talking about all that music outside of this context anyway, you know.
Absolutely. And like some of the greatest musicians of all time, if it wasn't for sampling, really wouldn't have been known. And like so, and I
Yeah.
love the people who recognize that, like David Axelrod would have and stuff like that, like whose music is like no one else's ever before or after. And if it wasn't for hip
Right.
hop, you know, people wouldn't know about it. And I just think, yeah, it's actually a wonderful story, really, if
Yeah.
people just
Yeah.
take it like that. But yeah,
Yeah, no,
unfortunately.
the producers I know like are passionately trying to convince you to listen to like 60s Italian jazz vocalists, you know,
right,
Yeah.
right.
because
Well,
they really they dig into that shit. Yeah.
Well, and funny enough, we were chatting. Obviously, this has been all about hip hop, but it's not about Keech. But like, the reality is, the reason I can't listen to all this new music is because I'm listening to stuff from 1965 to 1975.
right.
Right.
From fucking Italy or Romania or wherever the hell it is,
Right, right.
just to find 4 seconds, like,
Right.
and like that's the world I live in. It's kind of like people, what do you listen to?
Exactly.
And I'll be saying bands or acts people never heard of and never cared about. But it's, I suppose, like you said, it's that mining for gold. That's the joy. It's kind of like, oh my God, I found something. Like exactly like The Forgotten or something like that. It's kind of like I found this gold, and
Yep.
I want to share it again in a different way.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think that's
Mhm.
it. That's the meaning of the story.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow